It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Spy Thriller, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, starting off with the cars this week, let's start with the Summit bundle. It'll cost you $687,000. You're gonna get the Triumph Rocket 3R, the Aston Martin DBS, and the Land Rover Defender 110 V8. Now, you're gonna need a couple of additional vehicles for this week's summit. You're gonna need an off-road car with score breaker with the skilled affix maxed out, and you're gonna need a plane with score breaker with the skilled affix maxed out. That'll be for the Feats. Every other vehicle you're gonna use in this summit is going to be a loaned vehicle. All right, the keys to this summit is basically just survival. The events are brutal this week. They're tough. They're hard to drive. There's a ton of jumps and things that can trip you up. You're gonna end up resetting. You're gonna end up retrying. It is a very frustrating week in terms of the events. They're very difficult to get right. But if you get a score that you're happy with, I recommend not even going back because the frustration is really not worth it. It was just, it's crazy to try to get these things right. But I'm going to try my best to help you out with the right lines and, you know, just show you basically how to do it. And it's up to you to execute. All right, here are the rewards for this week. You got 100,000 XP, 100,000 bucks, the Jaguar D-Type for gold, and then the uncommon Silver Blades tire, which we don't really get a good feel for what this tire is. It looks kind of plain on this little preview image, but you know, it could be all right. We just have to see it once we actually earn the tire. So I do still recommend, you know, going for it because free vanity is a free vanity. It's one you don't have to pay for. All right, let's get into the events. All right, the first event is all loan vehicles, and for this one, you're going to be doing a motorcycle, a boat, and a plane. Now, with this one, the most tricky parts of this race by far are the motorcycle. The boat and the plane are pretty self-explanatory, so I don't really need to go through that stuff. You just really need to try to keep your speed up and go through the gates. Like, there's not a lot going on there. For the motorcycle, though, let's take a look at this path because there are certain things that I do recommend doing. And there's specific lines that I was taking in order to maximize the pace that I had. On this first corner here on the left side, I downshift to third and then go through the block wall. Helps me slow down for the corner. And then on this next corner here on the right side, I try to go on the sidewalk a little bit. Sometimes I missed it. You can go even further in. Then you slow down into third and try to make this corner as tight as possible. Now, on this part, you're going up to the jump. I brake check right before the jump. You'll notice my speed drop quite a bit. I brake check here, and then I put it in third and fourth, excuse me, land in fourth, and then use NOS in the air here. Jump to the left on this jump. Wait to use NOS until I clear my head. A lot of times you can just smack your head into that bridge, so don't do that. And that's basically it. There's a lot of patience there. You don't just like full NOS every time you know, hit a jump or something like that. It's important to make sure you brake check on this jump here. And then on this jump, make sure you clear your head first and then NOS. If you just try to NOS all the way over, I've tried to make it. You end up just landing on this freeway. So just let the rider come down and then just NOS after that. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is a follow the clues event. There's not really any cuts or short, you know, ways that you can sort of cheese this. I couldn't find any, at least when I was doing my runs. So you're literally just following the path. I recommend just running through it like once and seeing how you do. And then, you know, use that to sort of memorize the course and then go for like a fast run, like try to optimize it. So it might take you a couple of runs, but I definitely think you can do pretty well on here. It's just following the clues, like straight exactly what they say. So all right, let's move on. All right, the next event is using this Triumph Rocket, and each of these laps is slightly different on certain parts. So I'm going to take you through this first lap, and then I'll fast forward to the parts that are different on lap 2 and 3. So first of all, you don't want to take these jumps on any of the laps. These two here, just go under it to keep your speed up. And when you get to the end here, you're going to do a wall ride. So just kind of aim for, basically you're aiming for this like flag over here. You want to just kind of hit the wall, and I put it down into second on this to get off the wall. It kind of glitches a little bit and you're good. Now, when you go to this particular jump, you want to stay left as possible because you don't want to go through that tunnel, or you don't want a chance hitting those things. Then you're going to take this jump at a slight angle so that you miss this ramp over here. You don't want to be on that ramp. Downshift and do a little bit of braking if you have to. You want to go off the side of this ramp here and continue on. Then I do a reset here at this flag, and that process is going to be the same basically for every single lap. Now laps 2 and 3, which are going to be slightly different on the jumps. Let me go through there. So again, through here, don't do the jumps, wall ride. And then when you get to here, you're basically going to take this jump and then take this jump as well and use a little bit of air nos. But you don't want to throw yourself into this trailer here or this, you know, tanker over here. I'm going to get through the middle and then go left. Head for these blue lights, go in between the blue lights. You want to stay right in between those blue lights on the left side. And then go ahead and slow down here on this turn. The rest of the lap is the same. So let's fast forward. All right, here we go. Wall ride back to this part here. So on the last part, you're going to stay left again and then try to hit this jump here. But the angle that you're hitting this jump, you want to land in the middle. See how I'm landing like basically in the middle? You can go any of these sides or any of the pathways as long as you don't hit those blue pylons. The problem is when you go through one of the sides, you end up having to take a jump. There's a jump on the right and you can go straight through the left. So the left side or the middle is what you're going for. I just always shoot for the middle because it seems like it's the easiest way to hit. So right through the middle, downshift, slow down, and the rest of the lap is exactly the same. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is one of those chase events. And for this one, the strategy is to hit with head-on collisions, which means you need to get in front of them, go backwards towards them, and hit them head-on. Now, that can only really happen when you're on a road that is like, you know, a one-way road, or like there's no turns that they can make. Now, you don't have to do all head-on collisions, as you can tell. I'm hitting this guy from behind. I've already done 2 head-on collisions here, and so I have plenty of points. I'm over 1 million already, and that's really what you're looking for. So I'm just trying to get him to like the point where it's like, you know, he's one shot basically, which will be right after this hit here. So now he's going to be limping. He's like put in limp mode. He won't be able to go very fast. So then I take off and go forward and come back to get the big hit. So that's basically what you want to do. Get a couple of hits, then you can just go ahead and take him out. You only need about 1 million points and you'll be okay. So I missed. Rewind. If you miss your hit, just rewind. Make sure you turn rewind on your difficulty settings. Head-on collisions, that's what you want to do. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is a bit tricky. This one you have full nitro. You've got basically unlimited nitro refills. It refills the second you let go of it. You can notice my nitro gauge is instantly to the top, which is cool. You kind of need it on this event because you're driving some slow cars. Now, I recommend using 4th gear for this turn here. And then you're going to nos off this jump. And then you're going to use nos all the way, basically on all the jumps, you're going to be using nos. These lines are very specific. When you get to the bike, it's very easy. Stay to the right by this flag because there's a wall here on the left. And you need to go to the left through this little parking area. And you need to not hit any of these cars. Downshift to 2nd and brake. Take the corner. And then you're going to be, again, using NOS. Use as much NOS as you can. It's unlimited. 2nd gear turn here. NOS in the air. NOS in the air. Then slow down here. I went into 2nd before the jump. Just wanted to make sure I've got this lined up. And then again, NOS all the way up the hill. NOS in the air. NOS, NOS, NOS. NOS in the air again here. Point it a little bit to the right. And then try to control it. Going across this this football, basketball courts, football stadium. Anytime you're in the air, you should be using NOS. Make sure your car's moving as fast as possible. You're gonna hit this little jump, go to the right a little, and then control yourself through here. And again, on this turn, you can slow down, go through the walls. You can cut this corner as well. And that's basically the run. Once you get to the bike, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're literally just spamming NOS to try to keep it at top speed. So there is one little tricky spot on the bike here. It's when you exit the freeway. So I exited here to the left, and then I turned back right, and then you can actually go here. Let me go back. So I exited to the left, I turned back right, but then you can actually kind of go onto the sidewalk here. Some of this is a little bit unintentional. I didn't mean to get that close to the building, and you can do it faster than that, but the angle has to be right. So you notice when I jumped off the highway, I went way too far to the right. There's plenty of space here on the right side. You can get closer to this building and make this line a little bit sharper. So that's what I recommend doing. And then when you go across here and go through this little sidewalk area here, I just went a little bit wide to the right there. Anyways, that's basically it. There's not a whole lot of tricks to this one. So let's move on. All right, the last event is with the Defender. This one is going to frustrate you. This is a very difficult one to get right. So I drift this first corner and do a wall tap. I keep it in fifth. And then we move here to this jump. I sort of do a little wall tap here to get the car pointed in the right direction. And then I jump over. I know that's not super ideal what just happened there. I should probably show you my second lap, which is a lot cleaner than that. Downshift into fourth here. All right, then when you get over this jump here, you're gonna downshift to fourth and brake heavy. Try to get across the little parking lot there. Use a little bit of air NOS here. Downshift into fifth. Make the turn nice and controlled. This little S section here, it bounces you around a lot because you're going through a bunch of curbs. I would shift into seventh and just, you know, baby the throttle through here. It's just so much cleaner when you do that. Then I go straight into eighth early and then blast the NOS in eighth to get up to top speed here. Now on this jump, I kind of angle a little bit to the right. I don't touch the NOS until I'm falling. And then the trick here, when you get off of this jump, like you're using NOS here, you're obviously going pretty quickly. But when you get off of this jump here, you can downshift and it'll help the car, you know, not go too fast where you're gonna hit the wall. On this turn, I downshift into fourth or third. I can't remember. Looks like fourth. Oh, and then third. But fourth is good for that turn. And then you just, you know, wall tap and then keep moving. And then on this one, you're gonna shift into eighth early and NOS to the line. Now on this second lap, since I'm going so fast, I just use a wall ride. Because you're gonna take that turn in fifth gear no matter what. So that makes sense. This is a little bit of a cleaner lap here. You can see, I think this jump was much cleaner this time. Yeah, a little bit cleaner that time. You don't need to like land on the roof like that. The goal is to jump over this bridge and then land on this incline here at the bottom. But I landed on the top there and then bounced over, and I mean it worked. So anyways, that's it. Let's get to the feats. All right, let's talk about bullseye number one. Now, the first thing you're going to do is set up your favorites, because you need 3 different vehicles in this. You can actually do this with one vehicle. You can do it with the Robbie Madison bike. You can do the whole thing with the bike. As long as you have score breaker on motorcycles, on a motocross, you could do that, and it will probably be much easier to do that with. You don't have to switch vehicles at all. But if you don't have score breaker on motocross and you have it on the other vehicles, then you can either do it with 3 vehicles or 2 vehicles. So the first part of this is on the street. Now, if you don't have score breaker for a street vehicle, then just use your off-road vehicle instead. But here we go. So we go through here, and then once you get to this checkpoint right here, you're gonna switch to your boat and then make your way through these you know, these checkpoints here, and then you can switch to your truck or your off-road vehicle here at the end. And I messed up and had to restart, but you get the picture. As long as you have score breaker on every single vehicle you use, make sure that you have score breaker on all the vehicles, and you'll be good to go. So you get lots of points no matter how fast you do it. let's move on. All right, the key to the long jump is having score breaker parts. However, if you want to know what the fastest path is to get to the long jump, so you have a nice long run up, you're going to go back this way, jump off the bridge to this road down below, and then head to the edge of the green circle on your minimap and turn around. Now, once you turn around, you're going to follow this path along, and then you're going to drop down onto the road below, which happens right here around these lights. So go left. You need to go more left than I went, but you drop down here, get some speed, and then you're good. I mean, I didn't even do this perfectly, and I got a full score. When you get to the air, obviously you're nosing in the air the whole time. That's plenty of distance. So full score. All right, here are my final scores. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to send me a DM on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.